Remember the days before the internet was in everyone's pocket? Before every mystery could be debunked with a quick search? In 1999, a little indie film dropped and completely shattered the line between what was real and what was a movie. It wasn't just a horror film, it was an event, a cultural phenomenon that had people genuinely believing 3 student filmmakers had vanished in the woods of Maryland. That film was the Blair Witch Project. So, how did this low-budget, shaky-cam movie become one of the most profitable and influential horror films of all time? Let's rewind and dive into the woods to uncover the story behind the Blair Witch. The genius of the Blair Witch Project started long before anyone saw a single frame of the film. The creators, Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, were film students who had a brilliantly simple idea. What if we made a horror movie that looked and felt completely real? They wanted to capture genuine, authentic fear. To do this, they threw out the traditional script and filmmaking rulebook. They cast 3 relatively unknown actors: Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, and Michael C. Williams. The actors weren't given lines to memorize. Instead, they were given the basic premise. You are film students shooting a documentary about a local legend known as the Blair Witch. You will hike into the Black Hills Forest to find evidence. That's it. The directors then sent them into the woods for 8 days with their own camera equipment. The actors were responsible for filming everything themselves. This is crucial. The shaky, unprofessional-looking footage wasn't a stylistic choice made in editing. It was the raw material. The actors were truly navigating, camping, and living in the woods. But here's where the psychological manipulation began. The directors weren't just letting them camp, they were orchestrating a campaign of terror from the shadows. Each day, the actors would find notes and film canisters and milk crates left for them. These notes gave them clues about where to go next, but also slowly reduced their food supplies. Day by day, they were getting more tired, more hungry, and more irritable. The arguments you see on screen, the frustration, that wasn't just acting, it was real. At night, the directors would torment them. They would snap twigs just outside the tent, play recordings of children laughing, and even shake their tent violently in the middle of the night. The actors had no idea who or what was making these noises. They were genuinely terrified. The famous scene where Heather gives her tearful, desperate apology to the camera? That was filmed after a particularly grueling night of what she believed were real, unexplained terrors. She thought she might not make it out of the woods. That level of fear is something you just can't fake. While the actors were lost in the woods, the marketing team was pulling off one of the most brilliant campaigns in movie history. They built a website, one of the first of its kind for a film. This website presented the entire story as a real, unsolved case. It had fabricated police reports, interviews with fake townspeople, and photos of the missing students. They even distributed missing posters at film festivals. The internet was still a bit like the Wild West back then. People weren't as skeptical. The website went viral. Message boards and chat rooms exploded with theories. Was it real? Did these students actually disappear? The studio, Artisan Entertainment, leaned into the ambiguity. They listed the actors as missing, presumed deceased on IMDb. The whole campaign created a massive organic buzz. By the time the movie was released, millions of people were already invested in the mystery. They weren't going to see a movie, they were going to see the evidence. When audiences finally saw the film, it was unlike anything they had experienced. There were no special effects, no monster reveal, no jump scares orchestrated by a musical score. The horror was entirely psychological. It was the fear of the unknown, the dark, and what might be lurking just beyond the frame. The sound design was just the sounds of the forest and the actors' panicked breathing. The genius of the film is what it doesn't show you. Your own imagination becomes the monster. You never see the Blair Witch. You only see the effects of her supposed presence. The strange stick figures hanging from trees, the piles of rocks that appear overnight, and that final, terrifying sequence in the abandoned house. Let's talk about that ending. It's one of the most debated and terrifying endings in horror history. The frantic, disorienting chase through the dilapidated house, Heather's screams, and then that final shot. Mike, standing in the corner facing the wall, just like the legend said the witch's victims were forced to do before being killed. And then the camera drops. Black screen. Silence. It's an ending that offers no answers, no resolution. It leaves you with a profound sense of dread and unease that lingers long after the credits roll. Did the witch get them? Was it someone else? The lack of closure is what makes it so effective. It's a puzzle with a missing piece, forcing you to fill in the blanks with your own worst fears. The impact of the Blair Witch Project was immediate and immense. It cost only about $60,000 to make and went on to gross nearly $250 million worldwide, making it one of the most successful independent films ever. But its real legacy is the birth of an entire subgenre: found footage horror. Suddenly, every studio wanted their own Blair Witch. Films like Wreck, Paranormal Activity, and Cloverfield all owe their existence to the groundwork laid by this film. The idea that horror could be more effective when it felt amateur and real changed the game. It proved you don't need a big budget or flashy effects to scare people senseless. All you need is a good idea, a camera, and a deep understanding of human psychology. Of course, with massive success comes backlash. As the truth about the film's production and marketing came out, some people felt cheated or tricked, and the shaky cam style became so overused that it's now a bit of a cliché, often criticized for inducing motion sickness. But you can't deny its innovation. The Blair Witch Project wasn't just a movie. It was a masterclass in guerrilla filmmaking and viral marketing. It captured lightning in a bottle, blurring the lines of reality in a way that's almost impossible to replicate in today's hyper-connected world. It's a time capsule from the dawn of the Internet age, a reminder of a time when a story could feel so real. It made you afraid to go into the woods. So, what do you think? Was the Blair Witch Project a work of genius, or was it just a gimmick that got lucky? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into horror history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for watching, and try not to get lost.